Okay, I'd like to show you that the work we do on nano-2 hybrids doesn't operate in a vacuum, and there's lots of other interesting research projects going on in the lab. People we talk with over coffee that do stuff that I find personally fascinating. I'm talking here with Dominique, who works on lithium-ion batteries.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, in our group we are working on fuel cells and also lithium batteries, and I will focus on this topic today, on lithium-ion batteries.
A battery, it has lithium inside, so lithium is extremely air sensitive and humidity sensitive, so water sensitive, so it has to be stored inside, and the battery has to be assembled inside the glove box.
So this field is very important for future. Renewable energies are intermittent, so you need to store them in order to get energy when you have a lack, for instance, when there is no wind during the night for solar energy. So this is a main application of energy storage, and we are working on lithium-ion batteries because this gives the highest energies. For instance, compared to the lead-acid battery that everybody uses in his car to start the engine, lithium batteries have 5 times the energy.
We come to visit Khalid, who works one floor up from us. Khalid came from Ethiopia. You did your degree there. Why you came to France?
I finished my BSc degree in Ethiopia, and after finishing my BSc, I was hired in the university I was working as a graduate assistant. So I worked there for about 2 years, and I was looking for an opportunity to study abroad. At the beginning, it was not easy. It was quite difficult. And finally, I came and I've done my master thesis, the practical one and the most important one here in IMN. And go back and serve the university because I'm still under contract in my country. So I'm on a steady leave.
Your most personal motivation, why do you work in this area? Why don't you work on something totally different, on nuclear power or?
Okay, so my main motivation is probably to do something useful for people, for society. And for instance, when I worked for my PhD thesis, I've been working on some very basic field, and I was not feeling well because I felt that my research, my basic research, could not be useful. So after my PhD, I decided to change to another field, the field of energy. And after 20 years, I'm still in this field because I like it very much.
The next guy we're going to meet is a good friend of mine, Emmanuel Fritsch, who works in gems and gemology, a somewhat unusual area of science, quite different to what the rest of us do in the lab. And we've done some collaborative work together in the past. So I'd like to ask you, Emmanuel, so what do you do and why gemology?
This may appear as relatively non-important. However, it's a big economic issue, and there is, of course, as any time something is worth a lot of money, lots of people trying to quote-unquote cheat with it. So you have imitations, you have 3D gems, you have synthetic gems, trying to imitate the very rare natural ones. And what we are working on is trying to identify those materials, being able to tell where this amethyst is natural. Oh no, that diamond is synthetic. Oh, this emerald has been impregnated with a resin. Pieces of interest here are the sapphires from the area of Songea in Tanzania. What you see in a little pile is green sapphire and sort of red sapphire that's not quite red enough to be called ruby. This kind of gem material is useless. Nobody would buy that until someone found out that by diffusing the element beryllium into this sapphire, you got beautiful colors. The sort of winey red is turned into a slightly orangey red, which is far easier to sell. And so you see the monetary interest of gem treatment here, which is to turn trash into treasure, in a sense. One of the things we do is to look at what causes the really magnificent appearance of gems and what can modify it.
And which comes first for you? Is it the love of gems or the love of science?
I love to look at gems, but it's not just looking at a gem that interests me. I have to really get to know what's the origin of the color, for example. So there's a bit of both. And it's perhaps because I'm a mixture like that I do the job I do. Yeah. Okay, a chameleon diamond is what I call a toy. In its stable color, it's kind of an ugly gray-green, not terribly attractive. But the thing that's really fun about it is if you have a common cigarette lighter You heat it up to about, say, 200 Celsius degrees, it turns a bright yellow, even an orangey yellow sometime. Something that's interested people over the years, but no one understood the behavior. So we first noticed that this diamond had a lot of hydrogen in them, and recently we identified the cause of a broad absorption band which comes and goes as the color change in the chameleons. And it's indeed related to hydrogen and therefore nitrogen and perhaps other things like nickel. And there's even a remote possibility it could be related to oxygen.
Okay. So you can take a diamond and you stick it in a cigarette lighter?
Yeah, not exactly in. Carefully, about a couple centimeters above the flame. In the flame it would burn actually.
When you were young at the start of your career, what was it that got you into gemology? What's the buzz?
I really don't know. My mom kept telling me that even when I was very young, I look at the jewelry stores. She told me she could leave me there for, perhaps not hours, but a very long time, and I'll just look at gems.
Now we're going to visit Luc Brohan, who works on the next generation of solar cells, which can even store the light like a battery. Very briefly, what do you do and why is it interesting?
Yeah, I'm currently working on solar energy conversion and storage, and in two axes. One is a photovoltaic cell, and the second one in the photo batteries.
Okay, and what's a photo battery?
We use new materials which can convert solar energy into electrochemical energy and then into electricity.
But with the sunlight, it becomes like this, and it becomes darker and darker with the time of under the sunlight. And
So how long does it take to go blue?
like this, for example, this one is 24 hours.
It's like a solar cell that stores the energy.
It's very bit different from the conventional solar cell. In conventional solar cell, we use only one part of window of solar cell, of solar energy. And the basic concept is very different.
How did you get electricity from your samples?
In this case, we used the two types, and if we put them together, just separate by membrane, and like this we can create electricity.
Because I remember we talked about things like you could maybe spray this material on the outside of buildings, or you could put it on the floor. Or
TiO2 is very interesting materials because it can be used for hydrogen production, for example, by photoelectrolysis of water, and also for bacteria and disinfection.
So you're thinking that you could spray this somewhere and then you could just use sunlight to convert water into a fuel?
You can spray this solution on the substrate and expose to the light, and we observe the photodegradation of organic contaminant, for example.
Do you know what you're gonna do when you finish?
Yes, when I finish my PhD in 6 months, maybe, I hope so. I will go back in Bulgaria because I really miss my country. I'm here for 3 years.
Peut-être je propose la question en français, tu peux répondre. C'est depuis que tu étais enfant que tu as fait des choses comme ça, ou c'est plus tard?
Yes, maybe. I remember, effectively. I remember, comment on dit une chanson?
A song.
A song. Le soleil brille, brille, brille.
Okay, the sun shines, shines, shines.
Yeah, the sun shines, shines. I have 2 years or 3 years old, and yes, the sunshine.
If you ever felt that you might be interested in a career in science, you're probably going to end up working with people like Luc. The people who really got a lot of passion for what they do and they're able to transfer it.